good afternoon, Dragons. It's your admin team coming at you for this town hall. Just to start off, I just want to kind of review what the purpose of this town hall is, or these town halls. We find this as a great time to connect with you, to keep you in the know about what's going on in our Derby community, and to also address some issues or concerns that we have that we need to keep in mind as we coexist in our Derby community. So at this time, when you see these town halls, or when you're viewing this, teachers, it's a great time to stop, pause, and touch on certain points that we're discussing here in the town hall, and to answer any questions that you that come about as we do this. So that's just a review for that. Next, with athletics, hey, I am so pumped and so happy to see so many of you attending our games, meets, cheering on your classmates, supporting staff. I think it's amazing. There's a couple things we need to think about. Well, our number one concern is always your safety. A couple things need to happen. If you are staying after school for a sporting event, you need to go to your locker after school, get your things. Then go to one of the two lobby areas in front of the building. The next thing, you remain in the lobby until that sporting event begins, and then you go to that sporting event. Now what happens then? You are to remain at the sporting event until you are getting picked up or until that sporting event is over. You are not to wander the halls or hang out by your locker. There are designated areas marked by stanchions. You are to stay within them. Again, it's for your safety. Keep coming out. Keep cheering everybody on. I love it. Next one, shout out to Winter 2 Athletics, volleyball, intramural volleyball, wrestling, swimming. You guys have been amazing. You have endured and persevered through school closings, practice and game cancellations, and you're still competing at a high level. I love it. You guys are awesome. There's only a little time left in Winter 2, so let's end it on a high note. Go Dragons. I'm going to kick it over to Mr. Costello.
Thank you. Hey, good afternoon, Dragons. Something that I want to touch on with you today is something that you have heard from me numerous times, and that's our conduct in the cafeteria. The biggest thing that we need to improve upon is how we handle our trash, our waste. Just over the last few weeks, it seems like it's been a growing problem where folks just aren't doing their job taking care of throwing things out. As you can see on the screen with these just a couple examples of things left behind on top, underneath the tables. We need to do a better job, and I really am asking for your partnership and your help to make sure that that cafeteria is left how you found it, which is clean. Secondly, also during lunchtime, we have to keep in mind that during lunch we need to stay in the cafeteria unless we have a pass to go elsewhere. If you haven't noticed, our noon aides, led by Mr. Lee, are starting to do hallway sweeps during lunch rec time. So if you're found roaming the halls during that time, you're going to be taken out of the hallway and brought down to the office. So please just be aware of where you're supposed to be during lunch. And again, don't leave the cafeteria without permission or a pass.
All right.
Ms. McKinney.
Thank you. You know, it's important to note that those house rules are in place just so that students and adults know how to behave. And again, as Mr. Smith mentioned earlier, it's really about that safety piece. So we appreciate whatever you're going to do to contribute towards our overall safety. I also want to echo both of them in saying good afternoon. I continue to enjoy my experience here at Derby Middle School. Over the past month and a half, you guys day in and day out have been giving your first impressions. And I've watched it happen in multiple ways where you have been able to kind of share and shine all things Derby. And just as Mr. Smith kind of shouted out the athletic part of it, I wanted to acknowledge that our musicians and artists right now are on point. I'm hearing all about the festivals and the concerts and the musical auditions and all those things that are happening, and it's such an exciting time to watch all the different things that you can be involved here. So I encourage everyone to find something to get involved with. I know the third part of the year's clubs will be coming out soon, and so it's been really exciting to watch everything that's offered, and I hope you found something to be connected into. So speaking of things that we get to do here at Derby, we are very fortunate to be in a school district that supports extracurricular and extra opportunities. And one of those opportunities are coming up next Friday, the 15th. By the time you see it, it might be this Friday. And what we'll be doing is it's a speaker that's going to be brought out. His name is Joe Beckman, and he's an international youth speaker. You may have seen a few of these posters around. And his whole platform is talking about a human connection. And let's face it, when we walk through the hallways of Derby Middle School, it's a bunch of humans around, and we're interacting all the time. And the point behind that is that this is how the world goes round. And so we're really excited that this international speaker is being brought in for you to see. The staff members are going to be present to be able to hear the same message that you do. But what I want to mention with that is it kind of goes back to the house rules and the expectations that we have for assemblies. And what I want to be very clear about is that we always are giving our impression. Whether we're an individual or a group of 3 students in the hallway or a class when there's a guest educator, we're always displaying who we are as a person. And one of the most challenging things as a middle school is when you put nearly 800 students in the same place at the same time. And we each have an opportunity to contribute to what that first impression is to Mr. Beckman, who will go around and speak to multiple schools. And what we want him to say is, wow, Derby Middle School, they really listened to what I had to say. So what does that look like and sound like? That means when you hear the announcement, because all of the classes are going to be dismissed in a wave, so we'll ask for the 6th grade classes to come down. We want you to walk in with your class, almost kind of like elementary school when you would walk in a line. And that's not to like make us seem younger, that's just more for safety practices of moving that many people in and out of the gym. So when you walk in, you're to remain with your teacher, you're to sit with your teacher, because this is a class experience. There's so much that happens when a speaker speaks and you see something, you can turn and nod to that person next to you, but our expectation is that the behavior will be our attention on that guest that's there with us. So when that guest calls us together, or if it's myself or Mr. Smith or Mr. Costello, if we do that universal sign of raising our hand, then that you know you are to raise your hand and are to be quiet. And I say that just so that you're forewarned, because we're going to have a pretty high expectation for what your behavior is when we spend a lot of money to bring the speaker in and he has a lot of important things to say. And so I just mentioned that if for some reason that's difficult for you, you might be tapped on the shoulder by a staff member to take a step out, because it's our responsibility to make sure that we can have everybody enjoy this experience. So having said all of that, we're so excited for him to come. We're so excited for you guys to have that opportunity to connect with your teachers about it later. Speaking of this, a couple of things that are going on this week. Wednesday and Thursday of this week, we have parent-teacher conferences in the evening from 4 to 7 p.m. So that's an opportunity for your teachers to kind of hear all the wonderful things that you're doing in the classroom. We do this a couple times a year, as you're aware. Something to also be aware of is that your teachers are pulling 12-hour days on those days. So go easy, guys. They work really hard on your behalf, and those days are a lot of long extra hours. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in with us today, hearing about everything at Derby Middle School. Have a great day.